all of us are working towards our dreams, right? To build that dream house, to get that dream car, to be able to help our family reach a point where they do not have to worry about the money and just really achieve the financial freedom, right? What we do not realize is the real reason behind why we are being so late to even achieve that kind of result. And even after trying so hard, we are not even close to where we want to be. So in this video, I will be sharing the one line that turned the tables for me. And by the end of this video, you will know the one evil thing we need to remove from our lives to be able to live our dream life. Okay, and also I'm going to share a very deep story that I don't really share a lot in any videos or with anyone. But yeah, make sure you watch till the end to really take this lesson home. Okay, now as a 19-year-old kid, I stepped into my first year of graduation in business administration, and at the time I was a really shy kid, right? I mean, I was that fat kid who nobody wanted to be friends with, and yet I was able to pull a couple of 2 to 3 friends by the time I reached graduation, right? And as that kid, I was always the corner kid in any kind of programs that I would ever get into, and I would really watch these amazing people do their stuff, right? Do their thing. They enjoying dancing with everybody, having conversations with everyone. Like, I didn't know how to do that, right? I never knew that. I didn't have a lot of friends, but then in graduation I was lucky enough to be a part of a group, right? This was the first group that I was ever part with, right? And it was a group of like 7 to 8 people inside of it, and I was very lucky to be a part of it. And we were doing amazing stuff. We were creating memories, we were doing so many different stuff, we were hanging out. That was the first time I went on a friends trip to another city with my brother, of course. But we went there, a group of 7 8 people. We enjoyed a lot those 4 to 5 days, and it was like I never thought that that would be possible in the first place. And then this one morning, or I would say afternoon, I was sitting in a parking lot with having a conversation with one of the friends from that group, and I was having a conversation, and then this girl passed in. Right, she came up to my friend who was standing in front of me, and we were having a conversation, and she just stood there, and I saw her, and I was like, okay, I need to speak with her, right? I mean, that was the first time I even approached anyone. So I saw her, and I knew, okay, I need to talk to her. I just said hi at at the point, and I would never do that with anyone, right? So this was special. And then I went home that day, and I texted my friend, and I said, who was she? And she shared with me who she was, and then I asked, like, hey, can you please like make a connection between us, right? Say something like introduce me or anything of that sort. And she did, right? And when she did that, we started having conversations. Then we started creating really good memories together, and we eventually came into a relationship. And it was so great that I was having the best time of my life the first year of graduation, right? And weeks, months passed by, everything was working great. And then one evening we were just sitting and having a conversation, me and her, and she said, hey, Muzahid, you need to work, right? You need to make some money. And I was like, yeah, but I mean, of course I'm working for it, right? I'm doing graduation. At the time, all I knew was I had to study, and I had to make my living out of the study that I was doing. So I would study. I had already prepared for BBA. I was working really good. Alhamdulillah, I was really good at academics. So I was even if I was spending like 2 to 3 hours studying just before the exam, I used to get really good grades. But at the time, I was spending like 6 to 8 hours just to play a game. Okay, and this was an amazing game. I'm not complaining about that. But what I'm saying is, like, I used to play games for 6 to 8 hours every single day. And she saw that, and she said to me, like, Muzahid, you need to work. You need to spend that time that you're spending in that game in actually making some money. And I was like, okay, let me just think about some things, right? So as a 19-year-old kid would do, I went online and I searched for how to make money online. And I didn't get a lot of options, but I figured out that on Instagram in 2019 was doing great. We could create faceless Instagram pages and make a lot of money. Now, know this, that like I had never, being the kid that I was, I had never known that I could get a girlfriend like her, right? Because she is really beautiful, but I could never ever think about being with her. So that was my first instance with the impossible. And then when I went online, we were working together, me and my girlfriend at the time, we were working together, and we tried a lot of different things. Like, we went on Instagram, we used to post, we started creating some carousels, we used to do a lot of different things. I started reaching out to a lot of pages. And then uh, what I used to think is that why would people give me money online? Like, how would I make someone believe in me when I'm in India and I'm trying to sell something to someone online? Why would anyone even pay me that kind of money, right? Any kind of money, per se. And then in October, after trying for like 3 to 4 months, 5 months, 6 months went by. I wasn't making any kind of money. I was just trying and trying and trying and trying, one thing after another, one thing after another. I invested like 500 rupees, which is like $7, $7 to $10. I invested that money inside of this program to learn how to make money on Instagram. And then he talked about outreaching and all of that stuff. So I started outreaching a lot of people, and one person said yes to what I had to offer. So I told him, hey, I would love to create 10 content pieces for you. If you like them, then we can work together after that, right? So when he said yes, so I sent him the 10 content pieces in their branding, and they loved it. When they loved it, I was like, okay, would you buy 100? And I would just charge like 40 cents for it, like $0.4. And he said, yes, sure. And then I made the 100 posts, I sent it over to him, and I sent him the PayPal link for the $40, and he sent me the $40. I was like, oh my god, people pay money online? Right? I never knew that it was even possible. And this happened, and now I knew, okay, if I can make $40, I can make more money as well. So what I did was I kept doing this content creation over and over and over and over again. I reached a point where I was doing great at content creation. I had mastered content creation. I knew I could create content in any niche possible. And that is when my Fiverr started pulling off, right? And inside of that Fiverr account, I was getting some orders at $5, $10, $25. And at the same time, I was listening to Chris Do, right? And Chris Do is an amazing person known as the Future. If you search it on YouTube, you will know everything about him. Since I was a designer back then, I relate to him a lot. Related to him a lot because he is the best person in branding and design to learn from, right? And he used to always talk about value pricing, value based pricing. You have to like create a price for the person depending upon what value we are bringing to them. So I didn't keep a fixed price for my gigs, like $5, this much, this many content. But I used to ask these people who were texting me to get a gig or get some kind of content. I would ask them, how big is the company, what the niche you are going to do it into, right? So if it was like not a make money niche, I wouldn't charge them a lot of money. If it was a make money niche, I would charge them higher money, right? And then that is when I connected with this amazing person, who is like an influencer, right? And I connected with him. He hired me for 1 or 2 gigs, and he loved what I was doing, and I was doing it so fast because I had already mastered the process, right? And I was doing so fast that he told me, he texted me, bro, you're doing it so fast. We have had people in the past that we used to give our content to, and they would take hours to reply first, and then the content that they would deliver, we had to make a lot of iterations to it, like revisions and so on and so forth. You're doing so much fast and quality work. And I was like, okay, that's great. I mean, what happened was right after that, he started recommending us to his friends. And then that is how I connected with the biggest NFT network on Instagram to help them create their pages content. And I'm talking about the biggest pages in the NFT boom in 2021. And these pages had like 1.5 million followers. Like, not at the time when I started working with them, but they reached 1.5 million followers after we worked together and all of that stuff. We created a lot of content pieces. He used to do a lot of marketing, and I was working with the biggest NFT cartel, right? And we used to create content. That is exactly when the first time ever I reached my $10,000 month mark, and I was shocked. I remember writing. I do maintain a board where I write how much money I make every single month. And before that it was like $2,000, $3,000. The max I had made in that year was $4,000. And then I wrote 12,000 something dollars. And I looked at my brother and I said, bro, it seems like we made it, right? And I hugged him, we cried, and it was an amazing journey. But what happened was, like, at the time I was working 18 hours a day, like 18 hours I was struggling. At night I used to be awake at night, because these people who were doing the NFT thing had a lot of promotions that they were doing every single day. So I used to be there, and we were creating posts on the go, like 10 posts for one page's promotion. So I had to create 40, 50, 100, 200 posts a day to even keep up with the kind of work that we were doing for this client. And it worked like amazing. I used to sleep at 3 to 4 a.m., 5 a.m. At some point I was sleeping at 7 a.m. and I couldn't sleep just because the sun was out and all of that stuff. I was struggling a lot, but I was also making, alhamdulillah, a lot of money as a 21-year-old kid, right? And this happened, all of these things happened. And last year I invested in one of the programs that I had invested the most money in. And my mentor inside of that program, he said this one thing that really gave everything going on in my life at the time, the ups, downs, and whatever you name it, a meaning, right? And he said, if I could give you anything that is more valuable than any amount of money I can ever give you, is my belief on belief. I was like, oh my god, oh my god. His belief on belief. I mean, if we can just believe that things are going to happen, will it happen? Right? And that is exactly when my table started turning, and I intentionally started believing the impossible, and it kept happening as I believed it to be, right? It kept happening. I mean, I had never thought, like, when I first made my $40, I had never thought somebody would pay me like $3,000 or $4,000 to do any kind of work, right? Especially I'm from India. Like, would someone in the US, someone in Australia, someone in UK would pay me that kind of money? I had never believed in it, right? But what I did believe in was my ability of creating the results, because I became really good at creating content. That gave me confidence to charge more, right? And I mean, you see, the real evil behind all of your procrastination is disbelief. Disbelief in your ability to achieve the results, doubt in your capabilities, right? I mean, you see, like, after this, after realizing this one thing, like my belief on my belief, I knew what I was giving was worth way more than what I was charging. That is when I went from charging $1,500 for my services to $5,000, $6,000, then $10,000, then even beyond, then beyond. At this point in my life, what I'm charging for my services is like unbelievable for a 19-year-old kid. Like, for my 19-year-old version of myself, like, I had never believed it was even possible. You see, our minds cannot interpret good or bad. It will help you achieve the results you think about, whether it's doubtful or you're certain. If you say, I don't know if this is going to work out, it's not going to work out. If you say, this is exactly how it's going to work out, it will work out either exactly, close to that, or even much better than you had interpreted it, right? You see, no matter which agency you work with or which coach you hire, you will never get the results, never ever get the results, if you do not believe in what you're doing. And more importantly, if you don't intend to keep trying even when you fail multiple times, knowing, having belief that at some point you will be making it happen, right? If you don't keep trying and believe things are going to work out, it's not coming to you. Like, think about everything that you didn't get in life. You stop trying. You stop trying. There is nothing in this world that you have achieved, you have tried a lot of different times and you haven't achieved. There is nothing in this world, right? I mean, you can work really hard and keep trying, and over again you can keep failing at it. and you can get better at it. You learn one lesson, you get back up, you start doing the work again. Eventually you're going to reach a point where you are getting those kind of results, and it will be unbelievable, but only you had worked for it, right? You have to be willing to do the work to make it happen, even if you have hired an agency that does everything for you. You see, there is nothing in this world called done for you, right? There is nothing in this world called done for you. You always have to do some kind of work to get to the results, and more importantly, you have to believe the good time is coming. Even if it's not now, eventually it will. You are just being prepared for it, right? You see, above all things is God. The greatest thing about God is that nothing is impossible for him. So hear me closely. When you pray, pray for the impossible. Believe that you can achieve it. Work like your life depends on it, because it does, and you shall receive and you shall achieve what you want to achieve. Remember, in the end, it's your belief on your belief.